Hey, English learners! Welcome back to the Cody English. Today, we're talking about something everyone deals with every single day, the weather. I'm Cleo.
And I'm Cody.
Okay, Cody, I have to start with a confession. Last week, I walked outside without an umbrella. Big mistake.
Oh no, let me guess. It started raining the second you stepped out?
The second, like the sky waited for me specifically. I was completely soaked in 2 minutes.
The weather has no mercy. It doesn't care about your plans at all.
Zero mercy. And the worst part? I had checked the weather app that morning. It said sunny all day.
The classic weather app betrayal. That app has lied to me so many times.
Right? So today, we are talking all about weather, how we talk about it, how it affects our daily life, and some really interesting things about weather around the world.
And honestly, weather is one of the most common topics in English conversation. So if you stick with us until the end, you'll walk away with real vocabulary and natural phrases you can actually use.
Yes, and hey, if you haven't subscribed to the Cody English yet, do it right now. We make a new episode every single day, and you don't want to miss them.
All right, so let's actually start with something simple. When someone asks you, "How's the weather there?" what do you usually say?
Oh, most people just say it's hot or it's cold, right? But there are so many more ways to describe it. Like if it's really, really hot, you can say it's boiling outside.
Ooh, I like that one. Boiling. Like the temperature is so high it feels like water boiling on a stove.
Exactly. And on the other side, if it's extremely cold, you can say it's freezing. Not just cold, freezing.
Yeah, freezing gives people the feeling immediately. It's dramatic, but in a good way. People understand you right away.
And then there's my personal favorite phrase for that middle, uncomfortable kind of hot. It's so muggy outside.
You mean like it's hot and wet at the same time? Like the air feels heavy?
Yes, muggy means hot and humid. The air feels thick. You step outside and you're sweating in like 30 seconds.
I feel that deeply. Some cities are just muggy all year long. It's exhausting.
Totally exhausting. And you know what's funny? People always talk about the weather when they don't know what else to say, like in an elevator with a stranger.
Oh, immediately. Crazy weather we're having, right? It's the universal conversation starter.
It's the safest topic in the world. Nobody gets offended by talking about rain.
Actually, that's a really interesting point. In England, talking about weather is basically a national sport. People there talk about it constantly.
Wait, really? Like more than other countries?
Yeah, and there's actually a reason for it. The weather in England changes so fast and so unpredictably that it gives people something new to talk about almost every hour.
Every hour? That's wild. So you could have sunshine in the morning and snow in the afternoon?
Basically, yes. There's even an old saying, if you don't like the weather in England, just wait 5 minutes.
That's perfect. Okay, so let's talk about different types of weather and the words we use for them, because I feel like a lot of learners know the basics, rain, sun, wind, but the more specific words are really useful.
Totally. So let's start with rain, because honestly, there are so many ways to describe rain in English.
Right. So there's a light rain, which we often call a drizzle. It's soft, gentle. You might not even need an umbrella.
And then there's regular rain, and then there's a downpour, which is like the sky just opens up completely.
A downpour is intense. That was what happened to me last week. It was not a drizzle. It was a full downpour.
Yeah, drizzle would not have soaked you in 2 minutes. That was definitely a downpour situation.
And then there's a shower, which is kind of in between. It comes and goes quickly.
A shower is interesting because it's usually short, like it rains hard for 10 minutes and then the sun comes back out. Very confusing weather behavior.
Very confusing. Okay, wait, here's the interesting part. Did you know that rain smells? Like rain has an actual specific smell?
Oh, yes, and there's actually a word for it. The smell of rain on dry ground is called petrichor,
Petrichor? That's a real word?
a real scientific word. It comes from Greek. Petra means stone, and ichor means the fluid that flows in the veins of gods in Greek mythology.
Wow, so the smell of rain on dry earth is literally called the fluid of the gods on stone. That is beautiful.
Kind of poetic, right? And most people love that smell. There's actually research showing it triggers positive emotions in people.
That makes so much sense. Every time it rains after a long dry period, I just want to breathe deeply. I didn't know there was a word for it, though.
Now you can tell people, I love petrichor, instant sophisticated moment.
Okay, let's talk about sunny weather now, because not everything is rain and clouds.
Yes, so sunny is the basic word, but you could also say clear skies, which sounds really clean and fresh, or bright out.
And if it's really, really sunny and hot, people often say it's a scorcher, like today is a real scorcher.
You mean like an extreme hot day, like dangerously hot?
Yeah, a scorcher is when you step outside and the heat just hits you like a wall. It's almost aggressive.
Aggressive heat. That's a perfect description. Some days in summer genuinely feel aggressive.
And then on the nicer side, when it's sunny but not too hot, people say it's mild or pleasant, like, oh, it's so pleasant outside today.
Mild is such a calm word. It's like the weather is being polite, not too hot, not too cold, just nice.
The weather is being polite. I love that. Okay, so I want to talk about something that I think a lot of English learners don't think about, how weather affects the way we feel and talk.
Oh, this is actually really fascinating. Weather genuinely changes human mood. There's a lot of science behind this.
Right, like on a rainy, gray day, a lot of people feel a little slower, maybe a little sad, and there's actually a name for this.
Yeah, it's called seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, which is kind of a fitting name. It's when the lack of sunlight over a long period actually causes depression.
That's so real. I notice it myself. When it's been cloudy for a few days in a row, I feel less motivated, less energetic.
And the opposite is also true. When the sun comes out after a long, cloudy week, people's moods lift immediately, like you see everyone smiling more.
It's like the whole city gets a mood upgrade. People walk faster, smile more, sit outside at cafes.
This is where things change, though, because not everyone reacts the same way to weather. Some people actually love rainy days.
Oh, yes, the rainy day people. I know people like this. They call it cozy weather.
Cozy. Yeah, the idea that rain means staying inside with a blanket and a hot drink, that's a whole lifestyle for some people.
There's even a word for it in Danish, hygge. It means a feeling of coziness and contentment, often in bad weather.
Wait, another language has a word just for that cozy weather feeling?
Yes, the Danes are experts at making bad weather feel good. They lean into it.
That's such a healthy approach, honestly. Instead of fighting the gray weather, just make your inside world super warm and comfortable.
Totally. Okay, let's talk about some extreme weather now, because we've been going deep and I love it. But let's talk about how weather affects daily decisions.
Very dramatic. So in different parts of the world, you have really extreme weather events, like hurricanes, typhoons, blizzards, heat waves.
And a lot of English learners mix up hurricane and typhoon. They're actually the same thing, just in different locations.
Right. A hurricane happens in the Atlantic Ocean area, a typhoon happens in the Pacific Ocean. Same type of storm, different name depending on where you are.
You mean like it's the same storm, but it gets called something different based on geography?
Exactly. And in the Indian Ocean, that same type of storm is called a cyclone. 3 names, one phenomenon.
Wow, okay, I did not know that. So the name changes depending on which ocean you're near.
Exactly. It's a geography thing, and all of them involve very strong spinning winds and heavy rain, extremely dangerous.
And then there's a blizzard, which is a very heavy snowstorm with strong winds. Not just regular snow, a blizzard is intense.
The wind during a blizzard can make it impossible to see more than a few meters in front of you. That's called a whiteout.
A whiteout, because everything around you is just white. You can't see the road, you can't see buildings, nothing.
It's genuinely dangerous. People are told to stay indoors during blizzards. You do not want to drive in a whiteout.
And on the opposite extreme, a heat wave is when temperatures stay dangerously high for several days in a row.
Heat waves are actually one of the deadliest natural weather events. More people die from extreme heat than from most other weather disasters.
Really? I always thought hurricanes or tornadoes were more deadly.
They get more attention because they're dramatic and visual, but heat waves quietly affect millions of people, especially elderly people. It's a serious public health issue.
That's such an important thing to know. You won't believe this. In 2003, a heat wave in Europe killed over 70,000 people.
It was a tragedy that completely changed how European countries think about public health in summer. They started opening cooling centers, checking on elderly neighbors.
It really changed the conversation. And now, with climate change, heat waves are becoming more frequent and more intense.
Climate change is making all extreme weather more extreme. Bigger storms, longer droughts, more powerful heat waves.
Okay, let's bring it back to everyday life though, because we've been going deep and I love it. But let's talk about how weather affects daily decisions.
Oh, this is so relatable. Like every morning, the first thing a lot of people do is check the weather. What to wear, whether to carry an umbrella.
And how often does the forecast get it wrong? Very often.
Weather forecasting is actually incredibly complex. Even with modern technology and satellites, it becomes much less accurate after about 5 days.
5 days? So the 7-day forecast on your phone is only partly reliable?
The first 2 or 3 days are usually pretty good. After that, it's more like an educated guess.
An educated guess. I'm going to feel differently about my weather app now.
Meteorologists, weather scientists, do an amazing job, but the atmosphere is so complex that perfect prediction is basically impossible.
It's one of those things where the more you learn about it, the more you respect the difficulty. Weather is basically a giant, constantly moving puzzle.
Exactly. And small changes in one part of the world can affect weather somewhere completely different. That's actually the idea behind the famous butterfly effect.
Oh yes, the idea that a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil could eventually cause a tornado in Texas.
It's a metaphor for how small actions can have huge consequences in complex systems. The atmosphere is the perfect example of that.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about vocabulary, science, extreme weather, mood. Now let's do something fun. Let's talk about how different cultures think about weather.
Oh, this is great, because weather is genuinely different depending on where you live, and it shapes the culture.
Like, imagine you grew up in a tropical country where it rains every single afternoon at exactly 3 o'clock. That becomes totally normal to you.
In many tropical countries, the rain is so predictable that people plan around it. They know, finish your errands before 3.
But if you move to a country where rain is random and unpredictable, it's a total culture shock.
And the vocabulary reflects this. In some languages, there are dozens of words for different types of snow or rain because the people who speak that language live with it every day.
The classic example is Inuit languages, right? Many words for snow.
Yes, though the exact number is debated. But the idea is real. When something is central to your life, your language develops detailed vocabulary for it.
That's so cool. Language and weather shaping each other over generations.
And in English, we have a lot of weather-based expressions that have nothing to do with actual weather anymore.
Oh yes, idioms, like under the weather, which means feeling sick or not well, not literally standing under weather.
She's feeling a bit under the weather today means she's not feeling well. Totally common expression.
Or every cloud has a silver lining, which means even bad situations have something good in them.
A very optimistic expression. The cloud is the bad thing, and the silver lining is the hidden positive part.
And brainstorm, which we use to mean generating lots of ideas, but originally it meant a sudden, wild storm of thoughts.
English is full of these weather connections. Snowball effect, lightning fast, calm before the storm.
The calm before the storm is such a good one. That moment when everything feels too quiet and you know something big is coming.
People use it for business, relationships, exams. Things feel quiet right now, but I think this is just the calm before the storm.
Okay, let's do our vocabulary moment now, because we've used so many great phrases today, and I want to make sure everyone locks these in.
Perfect. Let's highlight 5 key phrases from today's episode.
Number 1, it's boiling outside. This means it is extremely hot, not just warm, uncomfortably, intensely hot. Example, I'm not walking to the market. It's boiling outside today.
Number 2, a downpour. This means very heavy rain that starts suddenly. Example, we got caught in a downpour on the way home and arrived completely wet.
Number 3, under the weather. This is an idiom meaning you feel sick or unwell. Example, I won't be coming to the office today. I'm feeling a little under the weather.
Number 4, muggy. This means hot and humid at the same time, when the air feels heavy and wet. Example, the city is so muggy in August. I sweat the moment I step outside.
And number 5, every cloud has a silver lining. This idiom means that even in difficult situations, there is something positive if you look for it. Example, I lost my job, but I finally have time to learn new skills. Every cloud has a silver lining.
Those 5 are so useful, especially for natural English conversation. They'll make you sound genuinely fluent.
And they're all things you'll hear real people say all the time, not textbook English, real English.
All right, so we've covered a lot today. Weather vocabulary, how weather affects mood, extreme weather events, cultural differences, and beautiful idioms.
It's honestly one of my favorite topics because everyone on the planet experiences weather. It's truly universal.
No matter where you live, what language you grew up speaking, weather is something we all share.
And now you have the words to talk about it naturally in English, which means your conversations just got a lot more interesting.
Exactly. No more just, it's hot. Now you can say, it's an absolute scorcher and the humidity is making it muggy and unbearable.
Yes, so much better. Okay, before we wrap up, we want to hear from you.
Here's our question for today. What is the weather like where you live right now, and what's your favorite type of weather and why?
Tell us in the comments. We genuinely read every single one, and we love hearing about your part of the world.
And if this episode helped you learn something new today, share it with one friend who's also learning English. That's the best way to support us.
We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode. Until then, stay curious, keep listening, and whatever the weather is outside,
make it a great day.
See you tomorrow, English learners.